Hey Sagittarius, welcome to your love and romance reading for November 2021. Happy birthday to the November Sagittarius folk. We're going to connect here and see what's coming up for Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus in the month of November in the area of love and romance. Now, every week I do readings on my channel where I talk about everything other than love. So be sure to check out the weekly readings too. Once a month I do a love reading, and that's what this is here. Let's go ahead and see what's coming up. And see what messages are coming in for Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus for love and romance. First card that's coming up, ooh, well, hello here, Four of Wands. Now, traditionally in tarot, Four of Wands is a really great, really happy card in general, but when we look at love and romance, it's seen as like a wedding card, a marriage card, making a home with somebody, celebrations. It can also indicate that you might be meeting somebody special at some kind of a get-together or some kind of a celebration, okay? Four of Wands goes a little bit deeper for me though, Sagittarius, because for me, what sets Four of Wands aside from any of the other cards that have to do with being in union with someone or making a life with someone, one of the things I just kind of feel vibrationally around the card, and the thing that I've seen reading for people over the years, Four of Wands is like you have a sense of community with this person. Like you have friends together. You do things as a couple, and you have people that you hang out with as a couple, and you have a sense of friends who are family, or the families getting together. We've all had relationships where the relationship is more just like us and the other person, but maybe like our lives don't mesh as much, or our friends don't get along, or our families don't like each other. But for me, the Four of Wands is like you guys have community together, right? It's not just like, it's not you against them, the two of you against the world. Like you have a sense of like a happy, solid foundation, a happy home, abundance, security. Things are nice and stable, and you have people who are happy for you. You have people who like spending time with you guys. And so there's a sense of like having a social life together. Not don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that you're never going to have like a night out with just your friends or your buddies, but you're able to socialize with this person and be in group scenarios or situations with this person. So maybe this is something some of you have been wanting to manifest. Maybe some of you have not just been wanting a partner, but a sense of community, a sense of home, a sense of family. I have also seen in the past Four of Wands come up in readings when somebody is preparing to make some kind of a trip back home, wherever that might be, right? A certain hometown, home city, home country, whatever it might be. And it can indicate that you're meeting your life partner on this trip. So maybe some of you have been specifically thinking about that. Maybe you're like, oh, I want somebody with my values, or somebody who's going to understand, how I grew up. And maybe you're just feeling like you're not finding that where you're at. And so maybe some of you might be preparing a trip back home, wherever that might be, and you're meeting a significant person or life partner. But Four of Wands definitely indicates, serious commitment, marriage, going the next step, next step in the relationship, whatever that might be, happy home, stability, all that good stuff. The next card that's coming up here for you guys, Sagittarius, is the Seven of Pentacles. And Seven of Pentacles is hard work that pays off. But Seven of Pentacles comes with the message that we have done a good job. We've planted the seeds, we've watered them, but this is the time that we need to just kind of take a step back now and let time and nature do the rest, right? We might be pushing something too hard, right? It's like you planted the seed and you're like, oh, it's not growing yet. Let me give it more water. Let me put more fertilizer on it. Let me do this. Let me do that. When we push something too much, we run the risk of suffocating it, or, it has the opposite effect of growing. So 7 of Pentacles sometimes means you've done a good job. Now you just need to let, you know, the time go by and let this thing to give fruit in its season, to give fruit in its time. You can't rush it. Okay? Some of you maybe are wanting to rush or plan an engagement or a wedding. And 7 of Pentacles might be coming up to say, look, you know, you're going to regret it if you do that. It might be better to take your time and do it right and do it in a way that you're going to be able to be happy and have the people that you want to actually be there. So maybe some of you are thinking about that. Like, are you going to run off with somebody and get engaged? Get married, like elope? Or are you going to like have a quick impromptu wedding? Or are you going to wait and give something a little bit more time? You know, 7 of Pentacles says that in some instances, for some of you, it's going to be maybe better to wait, to give this time, and to not rush the situation. Okay? The next card that's coming up here for you guys, Sagittarius, is the 8 of Swords. Wow. This is interesting. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Wow, well, that just kind of really changed the whole vibe of the reading for me. 8 of Swords is typically a card that comes up when we're feeling stuck or trapped in a situation. Some of you are going to have the opportunity presenting itself to move in with somebody or to get married to someone. Even if you're already married or even if you're already living with a person. There might be somebody coming along and there's this opportunity presenting itself to you. This person may be in a hurry. Like, they might be really into you, Sagittarius. They're like, life is short. Why wait? Let's do this. And you may have a lot of things in common with this person. This is not going to be for every single one of you, but for some of you, this is going to apply. 8 of Swords is telling me that maybe typically you wouldn't jump into this, but for some reason, 8 of Swords is giving me a sense or a feeling that you had some disappointment. Something didn't go the way that you had thought. Either something in the current relationship didn't pan out, or you had hopes around something you were doing in terms of work, career, business, finances, and you might be seeing as this relationship or moving in with this person as like the thing that's going to rescue you. What I was doing, what I was working on didn't pan out. Maybe the universe is telling me to just go be with this person and let this person help me or take care of me. But the really interesting thing with the 8 of Swords coming up here next to the 7 of Pentacles is giving me the feeling and the sense that the thing you've been working on that seems a little bit delayed, it's going to come up, it's going to progress, it's going to give fruit. And then you're like, man, gosh, like I wish I would have known. I wish I would have known that this was going to come in. Then I wouldn't have rushed into making this decision or rushed into making this commitment. I don't know why this is, but it gives me a sense or a feeling that there's a marriage or moving in together that's presenting itself as a solution to a problem because you think that plan A failed. And Spirit is saying plan A didn't fail. It's going to just take a little bit more time. Maybe for some of you, there was someone you had your heart set on. Maybe it wasn't about career or something that you were doing in terms of like your life. Maybe there's somebody you really had your heart set on and it didn't progress or move forward like you thought it did. And then you end up going for this person because they're like, I'm here, Sagittarius, I want you, I'm crazy about you. And then a couple of months go by and the person resurfaces and they're like, how in the heck are you married? What? When did this happen? You know, I went out for some milk, I came back or I went out to the store to grab something and I came back and you're married. Like, so I feel like if you're going into a situation or into an offer because you feel brokenhearted. Again, it could have been a relationship, it could have been something in your career or something you were hoping for, and you feel like it didn't happen, so you're like, okay, I guess I'll go for this. Spirit is giving me a sense you're going to be sorry later, because that first thing is going to resurface ready for you, but you've moved on and you've made a very solid, serious commitment. It's not that easy to just move out or, you know, get a divorce or get an annulment. So you might be better off, Sagittarius, even though you have this offer coming in right now. It might be better to just give it some time. You know, tell this person, let's give it a couple of months, right? Let's give it a couple of months and see what happens. Because I feel there's someone who's really into you, and the Eight of Swords is they want to hurry up and they want to tie you down before somebody else gets you. They see you as quite the catch. And they're like, I gotta lock Sagittarius in before they find better, before they go somewhere else. So just be aware of this. Okay, be careful and be cautious. This is something I typically don't like to get into, but Spirit is nudging me to say this. You know, it's interesting because I've seen this come up in private readings too, and sometimes in the weekly readings, there's been a little bit here and there that it's kind of, so it's I don't know if it's a touchy subject, but I'm not trying to offend anybody. There's a lot happening with people in terms of like coming into their power right now. Power dynamics, power shifts. And we're seeing that on the world stage, right? There's a lot of power, clashing for power, fighting for power, people not feeling heard, people not feeling respected, people not feeling included. And so people are all feeling the need to step into their power, like take their power back. And it's a part of the age of awakening that we're coming into. One of the things I've noticed when I've been doing private love readings and sometimes in the weekly forecast, I kind of feel the energy and I'm always a little cautious to bring it up, but I'm seeing that this is beginning to pour into the bedroom, this thing of like taking back our power. And so we may have some new wave coming in terms of people feeling empowered with their sensuality or their physicality or in physical intimacy. But I feel that people are feeling like the need to express this power dynamic in the bedroom, like a dominant and a submissive. And sometimes the Eight of Swords can indicate literally being tied up. And so and so there could be something here where maybe you have a partner that's wanting to explore these things with you, or maybe you're feeling it in yourself where you're like, I want to experiment with this. I feel like I want to do it, you know, like I want to experience that. I'm just going to say this with the Seven of Pentacles here. Take it slow. I cannot emphasize that enough. Okay, this is not going to be for every single one of you. So just bear with me and we'll get to the next message. But I know some of you might be curious about it. You might be into it. And you might be like, oh, well, no, but there's rules. There's rules in how this goes. And it's not supposed to be about hurting a person. It's really about boundaries and enforcing boundaries. And, you know, the person needs to listen to you if you don't want to do something. And yes, that might be how it is on paper. But you don't always know who you end up with, right? Don't just expect that that person is honoring rules, or that that person is looking at this the way that you're looking at it, and that they're not some kind of sick person with some kind of like power thing. So don't rush into it. You might be like, oh, I met this great person and this came up and they're into trying it and I want to experiment. Like, if you're going to do something like that, you really, really need to know that this is somebody you know very well and that you can trust. Don't go randomly jumping into that. Or maybe you've been with somebody a long time and they're bringing it to you and they're Sagittarius. I would really love to like role play with you, or I would really love to do these kinds of things with you. Again, go slow if you're open to doing it. If you don't want to do it, say no. Don't do it. But even if you're open to it, go very slow. This can be triggering. It can be overwhelming. It can be too much too soon. So for those of you that are finding yourself in a situation where you might be exploring that whole dynamic of the dominant and the submissive, or role playing, or, you know, tying up, or things like that, just really, I cannot emphasize this enough, go slow and make sure there's a lot of communication before, during, after. Don't rush that process. I'm not going to tell you not to do it, because for some reason I just see there's like this, it's coming up for a lot of people, and I feel it's like one of the ways in which some people might be finding themselves right now. And I'm not going to tell you what you should or shouldn't do with your body, but I'm just going to say be cautious with your body and with your emotions, and protect yourself. Your next card coming up here, talking about power dynamics, oh my gosh, is Five of Swords. And Five of Swords here is going to be, again, power dynamic, okay? It can be the burning of bridges. It can be a little situation that blows up into a big deal. But you know what the funny thing is to me, as I'm looking at this card, the look on this guy's face, right? He doesn't seem happy about it. He's not like, yeah, I got my way. Yeah, I won the battle, right? When we see the traditional tarot, let me see if I can find the traditional tarot here. I want to show you guys something. Okay, so if we look at the traditional tarot, if we look at the look on his face, I don't know if you can see here, there's like a little bit of a smugness. There's like a little bit of a smirk. Like the way that he's standing in his stance, it's like, yeah, that's right. You go and you take off. Right? There's a sense of like this confidence, or like there's this sense of like pleasure being derived from the chaos and from the battle. He doesn't have pleasure. He's not happy about it. You know, maybe he's the last man left standing, but he's not feeling good about that. So again, there's some situation here. Don't rush, because it can explode. It can become a big ordeal or big situation. So good idea to step back. Five of Swords for me also comes up to say that there's something happening in this situation where you're getting a little bit triggered. Okay, so again, like I said, maybe some of you are doing some role play stuff, or, you know, there might be things happening in the bedroom, even if it's not role play stuff, even if it's not the dominant submissive, or like the, you know, tying up, even if it's not all that kinky stuff. There could be something happening in the bedroom that's making you feel uncomfortable, or making you feel triggered, or there can be something about the way that this person is speaking to you, or approaching situations that's triggering you. And so you need to pay attention to that. Don't just say, oh, I'm being too sensitive, or I have to get over it. I have to get over it because I want to have this marriage or live with this person. I want to have a life. So whatever issues I have, whatever problems I have, I just have to get over it and put on my big girl panties or my big boy pants, you know. No. You can't ignore it, because you're not going to be able to heal if you keep getting hurt in the same spot over and over again. It's not going to heal. So you need to communicate. You need to speak up before things get blown out of proportion, while there's still a sense of calmness and we don't have pressure building. Also, you may have heard me say this with the Five of Swords in some of the weekly readings. When you find yourself getting triggered, remove yourself from the situation and do some quick journaling. You know, take a moment to journal and ask yourself, what happened? Who was involved? What did they say? What did they do? How did it make me feel? When in my life before have I felt this way? Who was involved at that time? What did they say? What did they do? Why do I think that the person now and the person in the past did this to me? Why do I think they said or did these things to make me feel this way? What was their motivation, or where were they coming from? And then write out a release and forgive the person. Write out a release and forgive yourself. If you're blaming yourself, I should have spoken up sooner, or I can't believe I trusted them, or I can't believe I fell for that, or whatever you might be beating yourself up about, or whatever, you know, I wish I hadn't reacted that way. Forgive yourself for whatever you need to forgive yourself for. And then at the end, write out how you're choosing to feel about the situation and how you're choosing to deal with it from now on moving forward. If you can do that, this is very releasing, very healing, very empowering, and chances are you will deactivate that trigger. It will no longer exist, right? And you can come and very clearly explain to your partner why something makes you uncomfortable or why you don't want to engage in it. Or maybe for some of you, you're healing the trigger and it doesn't bother you anymore, right? But you need to take a step aside and you need to work through it. It just seems to me like you're in a situation with somebody who's triggering you, and you might be triggering them. They want to be with you. They want to be with you, but maybe this is getting rushed, or maybe you guys got into this too soon. Even if you've been with this person forever, maybe circumstances threw you guys together. Maybe it was a situation where the person was going to be moving or leaving, and it was like, okay, well, it's now or never. We're going to get married and we're going to be together, or we're going to have to break up, or somebody got pregnant, or something happened where you just got thrown into the relationship very quick, even if you've been together 10, 15, 20 years, and now you're in a place where you're having to get to know each other all over again. Or maybe the kids are now grown up and they're gone, and you're having to adjust to being around each other. I just feel even if you've been together for a long time, there's a sense of this relationship, this commitment was rushed or jumped into, but now we have to understand each other. I feel there's a lot of miscommunication here. That's the problem. But I feel like both of you want each other. You want this. You want it to work out, but there's difficulty communicating. You're not on the same page. And so communication is everything here. Everything. Don't wait until you're fed up and you go off. Address things in that moment. That's going to be very helpful, you know, to keep from arguments or fights or blowouts. Your outcome here is the Judgment card. And this is a Major Arcana card. And so the Major Arcana cards are going to come up when we're in a new chapter in our life. There's a significant turning point. Okay? It can also indicate that you have past lives with this person, and it's a strong soulmate connection. But the Judgment card for me tends to come up in readings where this relationship might be altering your life path. And you're having to choose between a certain life path and staying in this relationship. So maybe for some of you, your partner is having a certain way of life that they want to live. Or you're having a certain way of life that you want to live. And you guys are having to decide, you know, one of you is having to decide, do I want to live my life that way? Do I want to be a part of that community? We had kind of an extreme example come up here with when we're talking about the bedroom stuff. But maybe for some of you, it's quite literally that kind of situation where one of you is like, I want to go join this community, and I want to go to these get-togethers, and I want to be a part of these online groups, and I want to meet other couples who do this kind of thing, and I want to go to like the conventions and the things, and, you know, get all up to date with, like, you know, equipment, and, you know, like they're getting all into it. And you might be like, oh, holy moly, I don't know if I want to have this way of life. Or maybe you want to do it and your partner's like, holy moly, I don't know if I want to have this way of life. It could be something else also. It could be that they're having changing or shifting political views or religious views, and you're wondering, do I want to go in that direction? It's like you're having to get to know each other all over again. Those of you who are single, I'm just going to say this is a significant soulmate. And you're going to be tempted to rush, but don't rush. Take your time and communicate, communicate, communicate. Communication is everything. It's crucial. Do not rush this, okay? You may want to check out your moon sign, your rising sign, your Venus sign. Some months those might resonate more than your sun sign. You may need a private reading, which I'm more than happy to do for you. If you want to go to calendly.com/amethystangelite, you can schedule a private reading with me there. I thank you all for watching, liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing. Have a wonderful week, my dears. Be well.